There are many occasions throughout the year when we look forward to giving and receiving gifts. Many of us look forward to getting our plant gifts, and today I'm going to show you some options where you can prepare your plant arrangements and be able to give those wonderful, unique, custom-made, custom-designed gifts for your loved ones. About 2 years ago, I put together this combination of plants. There are 4 different plants in here. They're all suitable for a bright location indoors. And this pot has stayed at an east-facing window and has not suffered in any way. Actually, it's grown, it's doubled in size. The plants, the peperomia dracaena, there's a begonia here that blooms from time to time. And there's a succulent filling out the body of the plant. But what we have here are the basic elements of how you combine plants in a container to give you that pleasing aesthetics. It's similar to the florist making a lovely bouquet. They're different styles, but when you're finished, you should be able to stand back and see the outline, see the combination of plants, both in terms of the colors, the textures, the shapes, etc. It should speak to you. And that's really what we're going to be doing today, sharing with you the basics of how you combine plants. The first rule when you're selecting plants for combining in a container is to make sure that the plants selected have essentially the same growing requirements. This combination of plants adapted to low light conditions. This combination of plants can go either in a low light or medium light situation indoors. All 3 combinations are for indoor plants. The third on my right is a brighter location. It has the dracaenas, some begonia, and sansevieria. So increasing level of light as we go from the low conditions, medium, medium bright. The resources that you'll need are suitable size pot depending on the plants you're using. Today we are working with relatively large plants, so we've gotten these handy 12 by 12, 12 inches by 12 inches containers, perfect for a combination garden. The second material you'll need is a potting soil. And since you are growing the plants in containers, you have to make sure that the drainage is excellent. We have our usual homemade combination of 2 parts soil, a very light soil, 1 part compost, and 1 part perlite. Drainage and nutrition taken care of. The other materials, of course, are the plants that you've selected. And to select your plants, you have the options of going to a garden center and purchasing small plants, or by now I would expect that, having followed many of our videos, you are doing your own propagation. What I'm showing you here are a combination of plants that we've propagated. This is a begonia that was propagated from leaf cuttings. This is a dracaena, which propagates very easily when you stick it in your container. So we have no rooted ones, but we are confident it will continue. It will root and continue growing. The sansevieria, we just cut it out of an existing clump, and it comes with roots. So let's proceed to demonstrate the planting. In placing the plants or the cuttings, I suggest you place the tallest one first. And in this case, we're doing an arrangement where the taller plants will be in the middle and the smaller plants around. In due course, of course, the dracaena is going to keep growing and become quite tall. The combination, the sansevieria is a relatively short plant. These will go, and it's a good idea before you really plant, you lay them out to see how they are likely to look, because it's just like when you're arranging flowers, you stick and you step back and you look and you make your adjustments. So in placing the sansevieria in the corners, this leaves a center area, which has the flowers, the focal point of the arrangement. We place these to the side, and if you notice, this one is a bit taller than the other. Since it's rooted, I don't want to cut it, so I'm sinking this one lower in the pot. Well, let's have a first look. Everything seems to be okay. The sansevieria is at the level, just peeking above the lip of the pot. So I think we can proceed to complete the filling of the pot. But this is one thing you do when you're making an arrangement. You really cannot be sure how it looks from all directions unless you spin it around or you spin around it. Looking at this combination as it is now with just the 3 plants, they look okay, but it need a bit of filling out. And since the color scheme here is combinations of green, cream, yellow, and this lovely orange, then I think we're going to have to, we can add some peperomia, which has this really beautiful variegated leaves. So we're sticking in the peperomia, and when we're done, we're going to top up to make sure all of the cuttings are properly anchored in the pot. So we've topped up the soil and made sure that all of the cuttings are firmly root positioned in the pot. The next step is to water it, give the newly set plants a nice little fertilizer application. This of 2020 fertilizer, 1 tablespoon per gallon. And this application of fertilizer will also serve to settle the soil around the cuttings, removing any air pockets that may be right around the roots, and watering it to the point of having it come out the drainage holes. The first watering, I always recommend that to make sure that it goes all the way through to the bottom of the potting mix, and it has already drained out of at the bottom, so you know that the mixture is porous. Now, one word of caution: most of these plants, these cuttings here in this pot, were rooted, with the exception of the Dracaena. And certainly, if you're giving this pot as a gift, you allow the Dracaena 6 to 8 weeks to send out roots, and you test by tugging it before you let it leave your care or your nursery. Once you've placed all of your plants in the container, you're pleased with the looks, you water, you place it in a cool, protected location so that they can settle down and there are no wilting, no shocks, before you give it as gifts or before you move it to the intended location in your home. I'm going to do the other 2 pot combinations and let you see what they look like. We've completed the 3 combination pots, and I just want to reveal them to you in terms of the individual plants in the pots. This is the lowest light one. It will do very well in medium to low light indoors. The feature here is this lovely Rex begonia, shades of grays and burgundies, and that color is also accentuated by the succulents that's thrown in there. Nice texture, the gray color. The anthurium is the taller element, the focal point. It will continue blooming indoors periodically. Every 3 months or so you should get a new bloom. So all in all, this is a lovely pot for a medium to low light condition indoors. All of the items were rooted, so within 2 or 3 weeks, just for them to rest and settle down, this one is good to go. This medium light plant combination has spathiphyllum as the focal point, and as you know, spathiphyllum produces that lovely, glorious white flower. The other plants are all low light, low to medium light. They're species of Aglaonema. You have this variegated, nice cream. This other one is tinged with red. So you have the colors, even though they're all indoor, same family, Aglaonemas. They're three different types of aglaonemas. There's Aglaonema Maria stuck in the middle here. So this plant should do well indoors. The third one, this is a brighter light location. If you have lots of bright light indoors, by all means, but I would recommend this for the patio or the veranda. The focal point is going to be the Dracaena. The begonias are going to give you the bloom, and the Sansevieria, as well as the peperomia, gives you the colors, the variations of creams and greens. Colorful, wants bright, relatively bright light for it to stay looking its best. And all of these plants, once they're treated well, put in the proper location, they will last. The main thing, attention to water. This free draining soil does not retain water. If you know your soil does, please be sparing on the watering. Try not to water the plants unless they really tell you. You stick your finger in it, you check to make sure that the soil is dry at least 2 inches or so before you water them again. These are just 3 options based on the plants I have in my garden. You, of course, will be free to choose the combinations you want or you like based on what you need them for and your selection of plants. We will encourage you to share, to experiment, and to share your results with us. It was our pleasure bringing you this demonstration. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. We really, really look forward to your subscriptions, those of you who haven't done so already, because that's our indication that we are reaching the audience. And based on the audience we reach, we will determine what the next topics would be. So please subscribe, leave your comments, and we will use those to guide our future activities. Thank you.